Boom! What is up, everyone? Guess who is back? Whoa. Oh, I have YouTube pulled up in 2 tabs. You guys probably didn't hear that, but the intro song started playing again for me. Guys, super excited to be back with you. My name is Tyler Ramsby. I am your guest host for today's stream, and I do want to welcome you to the daily cyber threat brief here by Simply Cyber. Today is June 25th, 2025, and this is episode 906 of the daily cyber threat brief. Let me go ahead and get the chat overlay pulled up so I don't forget this time. And boom, we have the chat. You can earn half a CPE, so make sure you say hello in chat, grab a screenshot, store those away, so if you ever get audited or need to share that information, you have it ready for you. For all of you in chat, let me know if anything sounds off or looks off. No one is freaking out saying your microphone's terrible, so I'm assuming it's coming through the right mic. I'm assuming all of you can see me, but hey, let's get ready to shred the top cyber news. Now, before we do that, I have a few housekeeping things to share with you. Number one, if this is your first time attending the daily cyber threat brief, let us know in chat. You can do hashtag first timer. I only have manual sound effects, so I can say welcome to the party, pal, but I would love to properly welcome you if you tag first timer over in chat. But excited to have all of you. We have made it to Wednesday, so congratulations to you. I'm sort of congratulating me. This is way earlier than I normally wake up. Usually I stream late at night, hacking stuff on my channel. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, you should. I have my own channel where I do ethical hacking and all of that fun stuff. This is like way too early for me to wake up, but I've done it 3 days in a row. I woke up to my alarm clock, so if nothing else, I'm celebrating that as a win. But hey, before we dive through the rest of the show, I do want to give you a word from our sponsors. And this is actually a clip or a video from Jerry. Now, this clip is a few minutes long to give a big shout out to everyone who makes the Simply Cyber Daily Threat Briefing possible. And I have one favor to ask of you. If you find this content helpful, a few things that you can do. Number one, in the description of this video, you can find links to every one of these sponsors. You can do us a huge favor by just clicking those links and checking out those sponsors. Even if you did it yesterday, click them again and check out the sponsors again today. The other thing you can do is all the YouTube algorithm magic stuff, right? Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, smash that like button, as you know, the big YouTubers say. But let's go ahead and go through these ads to give a big thank you to all the sponsors who make this show possible every single day.
Guys, I want to say shout out and thanks to the stream sponsors, those who enable me to bring this show to you every single day, starting with my friends Barricade Cyber and their Fortify 365 solution. Is your Microsoft 365 environment secure? Well, with business email compromise attacks on the rise, your entire operation could be at risk. Fortify 365 from Barricade Cyber Solutions is your defensive shield. Their team of experts implements proven security standards to protect your business from cyber threats, ensure compliance, and safeguard your sensitive data. They've helped countless organizations strengthen their M365 defenses with tailored solutions that address real-world vulnerabilities. Don't wait until after a breach to take action. Visit Fortify365.com today to learn how they can secure your Microsoft 365 environment against tomorrow's threats today. I also want to say shout out to Antisyphon Training. Guys, Antisyphon Training is disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by offering high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position. Their team of industry professionals assemble some of the best curriculum and course delivery you're going to see this side of the Mason-Dixon line, this side of the Mississippi, this side of the Rockies, this side of the Atlantic, this side of the Pacific. You choose your own graphical boundary, and they're the best on one side for sure. And the jury's out if they're not the best on both sides. Holler. I own an online academy, and I'm telling you, like, they are amazing. They're so good. It's all about supporting each other, not about, like, competitiveness like that. Just know they've got tons going on. Go to antisyphontraining.com, click on the course catalog, and you can see they have their upcoming course schedules. They've got courses in June, July, August, red, blue, whatever it is you want, they've got action going. All right, so go to antisyphontraining.com. Remember, links in the description for all of these are below. Let's hear quickly from Threat Locker. I'll be chatting with you in chatty chat. Bodie McBoatface. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. ThreatLocker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Hero support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com. All right, thank you very much. Just really quick, want to remind you also about Flare Academy. Now, I love Flare.io, the website, which is the landing page for Flare's cyber threat intelligence capability. But did you know that Flare has an academy side with training, tons of free, basically instructor-led webinars, for lack of a better term. But they're, a couple times a month, high value. As an example, on June 23rd, Jason Haddix is giving a talk, the Jason Haddix, bug bounty hacker methodology, CISO, CEO, trainer. The dude's awesome. He's right here. And as an example of what Flare Academy offers, you can learn operationalizing cybercrime data for red team and offensive ops, 2 hours. And the best part is, right after the webinar is over, you can go on Flare Academy's Discord and talk directly with Jason in this instance, or whoever the instructor is. So use the link below. It's simplycyber.io/flare. It will take you directly to the upcoming talks they have. This is gold. Don't miss on it. Don't sleep on it. It's totally free. You can just register and go check it out. It's awesome. All about good times.
There we go. And hey, once again, a big thank you to every one of those sponsors. Every sponsor of Simply Cyber has been fully vetted, and they are amazing organizations. So if you haven't already, please click the links in the description of this video to show some love and support to those who make the show possible. Also, when I was looking at chat, we do have a first timer. I'm mad that Justin Gold did not take a screenshot of this and drop it in mod chat. I saw it myself, so I'm doing his job for him. But looking at chat, we have Dream Logic saying, first timer, hey, good morning. Welcome to the party, pal. Hey, it is super exciting to have you joining us for the Simply Cyber Daily Threat Brief. And by the way, guys, I don't know how I've said that many times correctly. If you try to say that multiple times, especially into a microphone, while like hundreds of people are watching you, it gets even more difficult. What we are going to do now is it is time for Worldwide Wednesday. Now, let me explain a little bit. I'm not as cool as the Dr. Jerry Auger. I suck at maps, guys. I suck at geography. I'm not doing his crazy map thing because it will fail horribly. But we'd love to hear where you're joining from. But I'm going to try something a little bit different. I know he usually plays music. I'm going to play better music, or at least attempt to. My setup is a lot simpler than his, which means I don't have access to all the cool features and swapping between stuff. So I might break something right now, but I'm going to try it anyways because, more fun that way. If I click share this tab instead, does that break anything? Is it actually sharing the right tab? It is. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to play some music. I would love to hear where you are joining from. Let me know in chat. Say hello. And I'll also share my screen for Worldwide Wednesday. Let's play some music. A little bit of info on this music. I told you guys before, I make rap music. This is an original song written by me, created by me. I made it on stream. But let me know where you're joining from as we listen to Black Hoodie on.
Got my Cali booted up, yeah, it's time to hack. Got the IP in scope, now I attack. You likely don't know I wear
We
a
got
black
Boner
hat.
Joe checking in from
What's your sequel
Pennsylvania.
database? Let me grab that. And all the people in the place saying play that. Even if your password's
We have
hashed,
Jessica
I'm gonna
from
crack
Sweden. We
that.
got
Let me
Robert
go
in
and pass that
Ohio.
back with the fast
Marlon
track.
coming from
We can
Palm
take a
Breeze,
stove
Florida.
fast. I got
Another
the
Florida one.
hashtag. Even if it doesn't
Columbia,
last, I'm gonna grab
South
that.
Carolina.
Every kind of person
Dublin,
stinks,
Ireland.
and I will come back. Responders gonna listen, and I'll get that call
Charlotte,
back.
North
Someone tell
Carolina.
Eminem I'll never fall
Philly.
back. Cause I'm like all of them, I
Antonio.
don't sound whack. I can rap, I can hack,
Got
yeah, yeah, all
Texas
that.
checking
Cause
in.
I
I'm
like
scrolling
all
through to make
of
sure I don't miss
them.
them.
I don't sound whack. I can
York,
rap, I can hack, yeah, all
Minneapolis,
that. Cali
Minnesota,
booted
Greer,
up
South
in my
Carolina,
black hoodie
Niagara
on.
Falls,
Black
Canada,
hoodie on, black hoodie on. Got the Cali booted up in my
Lawrenceville,
black hoodie
Georgia,
on. Get your
Florida, New
terminals
Jersey,
up as we
Virginia,
listen to the song. Got the Cali booted up in my
Toronto.
black hoodie on.
Yeah, I don't know how
Black
Jerry
hoodie on,
just came up with
black
it.
hoodie
Earth,
on. Got
that's
the
my
Cali
favorite
booted
one. I'm
up
glad
in
you're
my
from
black
Earth.
hoodie on. Get your terminals up
North
as we listen to
Carolina,
the song. This verse
Florida,
is for the
Huntsville.
career coaches. I really hope it hurts, cause y'all are the real vultures. You're lining up your
Greenville,
purse
South
that doesn't
Carolina,
fit our
New Jersey,
culture.
Minnesota,
You're
South
getting
Carolina.
rich off the poor, you're a poser, I told ya.
Wow,
If
Ghana,
you're good, you don't
over
need
in
the
my chat,
cash.
Ghana, Brazil, Ireland, the
Now you're gonna
Philippines.
feel my wrath.
We are
I
worldwide,
just
ladies and
want
gentlemen.
you to see the
Romania,
fact that more than half these acts are just a money trap.
Lots of
So I will trash and raps, I don't want none of that. And I will smash with passion every scummy act. If you react with madness, you can
the
run
music's
it back.
louder than my
And
mic.
if you
Good, my music
disagree,
sounds
your
better.
thinking's incomplete because
Turned it
they're
down a
preying
bit.
on the noobs in our industry. And here's what we can do to break
Wisconsin.
their misery. We can make them feel accessible for you and me. All the content that we make, we do for free.
All right. Well, that was the end of the Black Hoodie On song. I don't know how the audio was. The audio of the song looks like it was louder than my voice, but that's okay because the song sounded a lot cooler than me just shouting out random places. But do want to say, hey, a big thank you to every single one of you joining. I'm looking over at Mod Chat. We have India, Ethiopia. Amazing. We really are worldwide. So thank you to every single one of you taking the time to hang out for today's daily cyber threat brief. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to the news. I need to switch back over to my original tab. Make sure it actually comes through. Let me see if I need to adjust the audio. I do. Let me adjust the audio a tad bit for this. Now, if you guys can let me know if the audio of the show, the CISO series, is too loud or too quiet as we dive in. I think I have it set correct, but so I don't like jumping from thing to thing. I have to readjust it each time and restream. But I think showing off Black Hoodie On was worth it. So, are you all ready to shred the top cyber news? I am. Let me go ahead and hit play on the podcast, and we shall dive in.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. I'm Sarah Lane. Hackers target over 70 Microsoft Exchange servers to steal credentials via keyloggers. Unidentified attackers are targeting over 70 publicly exposed Microsoft Exchange servers by injecting JavaScript-based keyloggers into login pages to steal credentials. According to Positive Technologies, the campaign spans 26 countries and exploits known Exchange vulnerabilities like proxy shell and proxy logon, with some attacks dating back to 2021. Exfiltration methods include local file storage, Telegram bots, and DNS tunnels, making detection difficult while capturing credentials and user data in plain text. Apple, Netflix, Microsoft sites hacked for tech support.
Guys, I had this issue last time. My freaking cat wants to be part of the show. So just so he gets over himself, here you go. He jumped onto my desk, hit my microphone, hit my keyboard, hit my mouse, jumped the entire screen. And it's always like when I'm talking, whether I'm doing a live stream on my own channel or the daily cyber threat brief, my cat thinks I'm talking to him. So he thinks like, oh, dude, Tyler's talking to me. I should jump on his freaking lap and touch the keyboard and try to break the live stream. He tries to DOS my stream. But hey, let's dive into this first story. We have some keyloggers, but that's not even the main story. It's just malicious code injected into login pages that harvest credentials. That's not really even a keylogger. I mean, I guess it is, but it's your typical, here's a fake login page, or here's the JavaScript in the real login page. When you log in, the threat actor is going to harvest your credentials. But come on. If I had the sound effects, this would be, you got to patch it, right? Are you serious right now? I said this yesterday as well, but here's the thing. If your Exchange server is more vulnerable than a try hack me room, why? how has it been this long before you got hacked? Or I'm guessing if you're running an Exchange server this outdated, this is only one of many attacks you've already experienced. I mean, threat actors are already selling your username and password on the deep web, selling VPN access to your organization, selling access to the Exchange portal. But here are some that are weaponized. We have the IAS security feature bypass vulnerability from 2014, the Windows SMB3 for RCE from 2020. We have all of these from 2021 for proxy logon. We have this one from 2021. All these from 2021. Are you serious? And unfortunately, yes, they are serious. Pretty simple JavaScript. It's a little blurry here in the screenshot, but it's just setting up JavaScript so that when it logs in, it's sending the username and password information over to the threat actor. Looks like via a Telegram bot right here. And then the Telegram bot posts it in whatever the little private Telegram server is, which you could probably mess with this if you knew the redacted thing and just spam the Telegram bot. Geez, that's hard to say. Telegram bot. But nothing super interesting here besides, like, seriously, if you are not patching your stuff, then do not be surprised when you get pwned. You need to keep your things up to date. You need to be patching them. You need to have defense in depth in place. Also, I have a feeling for these organizations that are using freaking Microsoft Exchange from, the 1800s, they probably don't have MFA enabled either on their accounts. If you had MFA enabled and a threat actor gets your username and password, well, they can't do much with it besides annoy you with MFA prompts, right? You have MFA enabled, but let's be real. If these companies are hosting an Exchange server to the public internet from the freaking 1700s after they rode their horse into the server room to set it up, they likely don't have MFA enabled either. So, interesting story. Nothing super exciting there besides you have to patch your stuff. All right, let's continue going through the stories. By the way, my cat is still on my lap. Here, I can show you guys him. You can see his head right here. If I kick him off my lap, he'll just stand here and meow, and then he'll jump back up here again, and there's a good chance of him hitting the keyboard and, like, ending the stream. So I'm just going to give in to the threats of the ransomware group on my lap, because if I don't, bad things will happen. He can hang out for the show. All right, let's continue the stories. I'm going to back up just a little bit since my cat messed up that end there.
Apple, Netflix, Microsoft sites hacked for tech support scams. Tech support scammers are exploiting Google Ads and search parameter injection to display fake support phone numbers on legitimate sites like Apple, Microsoft, and Netflix. Instead of spoofing websites, the attackers link to real support pages with manipulated URLs that show scammer numbers in search results, tricking users into calling them. Once engaged, the scammers aim to steal personal data, payment info, or gain remote access to victims' devices.
Okay. I have to give kudos. Was this story done? Let me make sure.
2022 initiative by Cloudflare, CrowdStrike.
Yeah, I think, is that the next story? Oh, no. Maybe this is all part of this story. Here, let's keep going. I couldn't tell.
And Ping Identity provided cybersecurity support to critical infrastructure sectors.
That was a different story, but it was a weird pause. I also don't see that in the stories. Oh, well. This is actually quite clever. I have to give kudos to whoever the hacker is who thought of this. It's not sophisticated, but it's clever. And this is actually a great one to look at if you are a pen tester like what I am. I don't think I shared this in the beginning or not, but like my full-time gig is I'm a pen tester. So I hack companies all day, but legally, right? They give me their scope, and then I spend time digging into it, seeing what I can compromise. And a big part of hacking or pen testing, ethical hacking, is being able to think from the perspective of a threat actor. So if you find something that seems relatively not malicious, so here we have this injection attack or search parameter injection, which I've seen before, but never really messed with myself because I was like, well, what can you actually do with parameter injection besides like send a pasted link to someone and say, hi, this is Tyler. You can't do much with it. But here's what's clever about this one. This is on actual Netflix.com, and this is something that likely would not be eligible for a bug bounty program. So if you submitted this over on HackerOne, for example, they would likely write it off as an informational or just having no impact. But now look at this. This is where you can take those bug bounty reports to the next level by showing here's how it can be abused, and here's a real story from how real threat actors are abusing this vulnerability. You see, you could put anything you want in the Q parameter right here, and it's reflected as a question, right? So you can see this is literally just the search bar. This isn't like the contact form. It's just the search bar. But when they pull up into it, you can see the search bar says call now. And we have the 1-866-123-4568, right? Sample number there, but the threat actor's tech support scam number. And then to up it a little bit, these are sponsored ads. So if we scroll through here, the attackers pay for ads that point people who look for 24/7 support to real sites. They're not pushing them to malicious sites in any way, but to real sites of companies such as Apple, Microsoft, HP, Facebook, Netflix, Bank of America, and PayPal. And there's nothing in the URL. My cat finally wants off my lap. There's nothing in the URL that would give it away that this is a malicious site, because it's not. These are legit, trusted, hosted websites by these organizations. The only thing malicious is the Q parameter. But honestly, when you see the little Google ad, do they have an example of what it looks like as a Google ad? I don't know if I don't see an example of it. But if you look at an example of a Google ad, it's likely not going to show this full parameter right here. You're just going to see support.apple.com. You're going to click into that. And when you click into it, you're going to see, oh, okay, I should call this number right now for the help center. And then when you call the number, I'm guessing the malicious, tech scammer on the other end asks you to confirm your username and password, or asks you to confirm your payment information. And from that point, they're going to steal your credit card information, your username, and your password. Interesting. So my takeaway from this, number one, if you are a pen tester or want to be a pen tester, keep this in mind. This would be an incredible thing to bring up in an interview this week or an upcoming interview. That if the pen testing org asks you, hey, what are some novel attacks that you would do if you were on a penetration test? I would mention this one because it's not super sophisticated, but it is really clever on how you can use business logic. Like, this is meant to be this way with the Q parameter, but how you can use something that doesn't seem malicious on the surface, but you can use it for social engineering and exploits. Fascinating stuff. Now, I didn't see... It's talking about like, oh, this is Cloudflare. Okay, gotcha. I just didn't see it in the title. So let me back up that story a little bit and we'll dive into this one next. Let me jump back. Oh, it doesn't feel like playing. Give me just a second.
The scammers aim to steal personal data, payment info, or gain remote access to victims' devices. The 2022 initiative by Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, and Ping Identity provided cybersecurity support to critical infrastructure sectors seen as potential targets of Russia-linked attacks.
Seems like a commercial.
Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, and Ping Identity have ended their free critical infrastructure defense project, originally launched in 2022 to protect sectors like healthcare and utilities from Russia-linked cyber threats. The shutdown comes as DHS warns Iranian hackers may retaliate against U.S. networks following recent U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. The NTAS bulletin also cites growing risks of cyber and physical attacks from Iranian-aligned actors and extremist groups.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There isn't anything super interesting in this story. The TLDR is these three organizations, Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, and Ping Identity, were supplying free cybersecurity tools to critical infrastructure owners and operators potentially exposed to digital threats, and they are now discontinuing those. I don't know if it says anywhere what those free cybersecurity tools were. I'm guessing, knowing these organizations, it was maybe some web application firewalls, maybe some things to prevent DDoS attacks or help mitigate DDoS attacks. We have last June, Microsoft and Google made the initial commitment to offer grants, discounts, and free tools for small care centers. And in 2023, school tech providers agreed to offer free and subsidized cybersecurity resources for schools in need of digital shielding. So you have these different programs in place helping organizations that otherwise would not be able to afford the cybersecurity defense that they need as we potentially come under attack from other countries. Now, I like how it mentions that, hey, in light of Iran, there might be more attacks. Obviously, I've shared this, I think, every single day so far because, of course, it is a topic in the news. But warfare goes beyond traditional warfare. So, as of now, unless it changed this morning before I jumped on, but there is somewhat of a peace, kind of, a very tense peace between Israel and Iran. But I guarantee you that even in the midst of that peace, cyber warfare is still happening, not only from Iran to Israel and potentially Iran to the United States, but the United States to Iran. I mean, there's this hidden warfare that every once in a while the veil is lifted and we see the effects of it, but it is ongoing all of the time where you have both red team experts and blue team experts in all these different countries doing espionage, trying to plant malware. And in case you need the malware, you launch the malware off. So this story makes it sound like, hey, Iran is the one doing this. Iran is doing it, but here's the thing. Every single country has a cyber warfare arm that is ongoing, sometimes even allies, to steal information, to commit espionage, and to have this information if it is ever needed. That's part of, I guess, running a country. So yes, Iran is doing this. Yes, Israel is doing this. Yes, Ukraine is doing this. Yes, Russia is doing this. And yes, the US and every other country is involved with this, doing some form of cyber warfare. The one thing to keep in mind is if you work in critical infrastructure, you just need to be ready. It's not a matter of if, but when you are breached, because these nation state actor groups, they're called APTs, or advanced persistent threats. And that name defines them pretty well. Number one, they are advanced. They are funded by entire countries. They have 0 days you and I know nothing about. They purchase 0 days so they can use them. They are persistent. A typical script kiddie, if they don't get into your website within the first hour, they're going to choose a different target. An advanced persistent threat is they are persistent. They will keep at it. They will find a way in. And of course, they are a threat. They will get access to your organization. So you need to always be thinking, if our organization, or rather when our organization gets breached, what is going to be the damage done? Now, I do pen testing, and I recommend that if you are a CISO, you should do pen testing to help with that, or a red team engagement, because then we emulate what a real threat actor would do, often from an assumed breach perspective, so you get a better report than just your typical Nessus scan, because a Nessus scan is not going to pick up on those manual things that a good pen tester is doing when they get into your environment. All right, let's continue to dive into this. New file fix attack weaponizes Windows File Explorer. Ooh, Windows causing issues. Surprise, surprise. Don't use Windows. Let's keep going.
Wonder new file fix attack weaponizes Windows File Explorer for stealthy commands. A researcher has developed File Fix, a new variant of the click fix attack that tricks users into pasting malicious PowerShell commands into the Windows File Explorer address bar, enabling stealthy command execution. Unlike prior click fix attacks that relied on the run dialog, File Fix uses a familiar UI and disguises the command behind a fake file path, likely to be adopted by threat actors due to simplicity and ability to evade detection.
I don't know how people are falling for this, but they are. That's what, at least that's what Justin Gold says, and he's in this day in and day out. People are still falling for this. This is not super interesting. Oh, thank you. Justin just dropped a link to the full story. We can check out this link together. Give me just a moment. Let me get this link pulled up and we will check it out. So here is the research. File fix, a click fix alternative. Now, for those of you who don't know what the click fix attack is when you get the prompt saying, hey, You need to prove that you are a human. And the way that you prove that you are a human is you open up the run command on your computer if you're on Windows, and you paste in this PowerShell script. When you paste in the PowerShell script, it downloads some malware to take screenshots, to steal information, to do all of that fun stuff. But here we have a slightly different one called FileFix. It sounds like it does the same thing, except you're just doing, well, this is actually in their website. Hold up. My primary issue with the current ClickFlix attacks, is that they heavily rely on the run dialog, and I want to find an alternative method that may be just as effective. Therefore, in this blog post, I'll present an interesting method to social engineer users into executing OS commands without leaving the browser. Oh, so I thought they were pasting this. Well, I guess they are into the browser URL potentially, but feel free to call it whatever you want. So it's called FileFix. I'm calling it Hack Smarter. All right. He told me I can call it whatever I want. So this is the Hack Smarter exploit. Thank you to this researcher for coining the Hack Smarter term. We have input type file. So this is an HTML demo. Clicking the choose file button, a file explorer window opens. Again, nothing special so far, but at this point, I remember that the file explorer address bar can be used to execute OS commands, which you can. I wrongly assumed this would be blocked by the browser, and it wasn't. So there he's doing a ping command. All right, I just want to see all of this. The phishing page includes an open file explorer button that, when clicked, launches File Explorer through the file upload functionality and copies the PowerShell command to the clipboard. Conveniently enough, the address bar can be auto-highlighted using Control-L and Alt-D, so we'll make sure we mention that in our instructions. Our instructions will be as follows. Okay, so very similar to the last attack path, just a little better because, well, not better. Better if you're a pen tester or a red teamer, because here's what it looks like. It says access HR policy doc, follow these steps. Copy the file path below, open the file explorer, select the address bar, paste the file path, and press enter. Blocking file selection, higher quality demo here. Okay, here's what it looks like. I want to see this. Open file explorer. Paste in. And you can see it actually changes to a PowerShell command to do command execution. Now, this is an obvious, just quick POC showing ping, but you could download files. There's a lot of crazy things that you could do with this. I might even make a YouTube video on this because this is a unique attack vector that people should be aware of, especially on the blue team, so you can warn employees. Also, if your employees can just run commands and run PowerShell, that's an issue in and of itself. You should have that disabled in your domain settings over on Windows. But interesting stuff. Once again, showing a good example of what it looks like to really think outside of the box. But hey, y'all, we are now at the mid-roll, and you can picture that la 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 song. I'm not going to sing it for you because I suck at singing. I can only rap, and it's too early. It's too early to rap, but we are at the mid-roll, and I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsors. We have Barricade Cyber Solutions, ThreatLocker, Delete Me, Antisyphon, and Flare. Now, Barricade Cyber Solutions, you met the owner, founder, CEO of that yesterday. He'll be back to do jaw jacking tomorrow. Justin Gold also works there. We have ThreatLocker. You heard about them in the beginning. Delete Me can remove your personal information from the web so that hackers and people trying to perform OSINT can't find your address as easily. I should probably get that. We have Antisyphon, incredible academy for learning through pay what you can offerings, and Flare as well as Flare's Academy. Now, I have one more sponsor I want to tell you guys about that Jerry doesn't have on the screen, but he should. And that is Simply Cyber Academy. For those of you who may not know, at Simply Cyber, we also have an academy that offers really engaging and affordable courses in the world of GRC and now in the world of pen testing and red team. So I have two courses over on Simply Cyber Academy, Introduction to Hacking Methodology and Introduction to AWS Pen Testing. They're both fully hands-on, teaching you what it's like to be a pen tester or teaching you what it's like to do pen testing of cloud environments. Both courses are made for beginners, so without a bunch of experience prior, you will be able to follow along. And my next course is coming out July 8th, Hands-on Phishing, where I will walk you through how to do a full phishing campaign, from setting up infrastructure to buying domains and all of that fun stuff to setting up GoPhish and Evil Jinx and spoofing internal phone numbers. It's going to be awesome. So if you are not a student, It's Simply Cyber Academy you should be. Let me drop the link over in chat. academy.simplycyber.io. And if I can share it, there we go. Did I type it right? Academy.simplycyber.io. I did. So make sure you go to Simply Cyber's Academy. Check out the courses there. One also spoiler that I can tell you guys about is I have a voucher for the OSCP by OffSec to give away. So my course releases on July 8th. Everyone who enrolls in the first 4 weeks will be eligible to win that voucher. That is an $1,800 value for the voucher and 90 days of lab access to OffSec's platform. So once again, thank you to these sponsors. Also, thank you to Simply Cyber Academy for helping you take your career further, faster. Now, I feel like I'm missing something in the mid-roll. Mod chat, let me know if I'm missing anything. Usually during the mid-roll, we have the sponsor shout-out and a different feature, but I think for Wednesdays, our other feature is just Worldwide Wednesday. So if I am missing something, let me know. Roswell UK, I love it. Roswell UK says it'll be hands-on fishing. That'll be a surprise to those expecting fishing. Wouldn't that be amazing if like the entire course is just me sitting out at a lake, like on a boat, just like, hey everyone, in the first session of today's video, I'm going to teach you how to get your fishing pole ready. We're going to add our lure onto the end of our fishing pole, and I'm also going to show you how we can go to a local gas station and buy worms so that we can catch more fish. And then like that's the entire video. On the next one, like the entire course is literally just fishing. All right, Justin Gold said, nah, you're good. It should be all you needed to cover. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue with these stories. Let's see. I think this is the story that we are at. Let me get the news pulled back up for us.
Huge thanks to our sponsor, ThreatLocker. ThreatLocker is a global leader in zero trust endpoint security, offering cybersecurity controls to protect businesses from zero-day attacks.
Why in the world? Why in the world would they provide a freaking paywall for the story that we need to look at? All right, I'm going to fix this real quick. Let me do some hacker magic and bypass this stupid paywall. I hate paywalls like this. Give me just a moment. All right, bypass the paywall. Don't give me paywalls, you silly CISO series.
And ransomware. ThreatLocker operates with a default deny approach to reduce the attack surface and mitigate potential cyber vulnerabilities. To learn more and start your free trial, visit threatlocker.com/CISO. That's threatlocker.com/CISO. Aflac, one of the U.S.'s largest insurers, is the latest to fall under siege to hackers.
Didn't we talk about this?
Aflac, one of the largest U.S. insurers, is investigating a data breach that may have exposed Social Security numbers, health data, and other sensitive customer information. The attack is suspected to be linked to Scattered Spider, a group known for low-tech social engineering tactics like impersonating employees to bypass security. Despite being labeled highly sophisticated, the methods reportedly involved phishing, SIM swapping, and MFA fatigue, not advanced exploits.
Did I talk about this? Okay, yeah. Justin said, I think Aflac was Monday. Yeah, Aflac. I thought I was having deja vu. Different story here because I didn't have to bypass a paywall the first time. If you guys want to know how I bypassed that paywall, I'm not going to show you. The reason I'm not going to show you is YouTube is actually really sensitive to like bypassing paywalls and ads, and I don't want to put a strike on Simply Cyber. So I am able to bypass every single paywall I want, but I'm not going to show you guys at least live on stream how I do that. Anyways, we don't have too much super interesting stuff here besides we now have Scattered Spider targeting insurance companies. But honestly, based on Scattered Spider's MO of doing some basic social engineering attacks, I'm guessing the insurance company's piece of it is just like the low-hanging bug that they were able to find. We have Aflac representative said that it was perpetrated by a highly sophisticated and well-known group that has the insurance industry under siege. Talk about dramatic. Like we need a Hollywood movie about this. Highly sophisticated calling employees and saying I'm IT support or trying to reset a password for someone who is on IT. I would not call that highly sophisticated. They are well known, so that is what it is. I'm guessing Aflac just doesn't want to be like, yeah, we got pwned by, the advanced persistent teenagers, and that's how we got pwned. All right, I'm looking at chat. Can you unpin Roswell's chat? Oh yeah, sorry about that. There. Thank you, Justin Gold. Must have accidentally clicked into it, but now it's fixed. Anyways, in an update last week, Erie said it had regained control of its systems and was working around the clock to restore access for customers, agents, and employees. So let's talk through the tactics. So we have Scattered Spider. You've likely heard of them before. They're known to pose as employees asking help from a company's call center or tech support team. So this would be like if I was calling Barricade Cyber, and let's say they have a massive IT department, and I say, hey, Barricade, my name is Justin Gold. I forgot my password. Can you please give me the password information? And the tech support team's like, yeah, like what's your date of birth and the last four of your social or something silly like that. It would be easy for me to retrieve that information. I give the IT support department that information. They then reset the password. I have now compromised the employee, and I can use that to pivot deeper into the environment. They specialize in social engineering operations in which attackers pose as a coworker or their contact, blah, blah. Once inside, they install malicious software to steal or lock data, spy on a company, or disrupt operations. It says they don't rely on malware to get in. It's all social engineering. They rely on human behavior. And one thing I would point out to you is humans really are the weakest link. So if you are doing a pen test or a red team engagement for your organization, often organizations are like, yes, you can hack our websites, but social engineering is off limits. That's a terrible take and a terrible idea, because when you study groups like Scattered Spider, they're not using elite hacker skills. They're not hacking your web app, exploiting a file upload, getting like a shell, and then from there accessing your network, they're picking up their cell phone and saying, hey, this is Justin from threat hunting department. I forgot my password. And if you're doing a pen test or a red team engagement and you say social engineering is not allowed, you are shooting yourself in the foot, because you are not being prepared for one of the primary methods threat actors use to gain access to the information. On top of having the right defensive tech in place, he said the key question is, can someone call in, sound confident, and get exactly what they want? That's the battleground. And I can tell you, as a pen tester who does social engineering, the answer is yes. When you are able to do phone calls and sound confident and build rapport with people, that's like a superpower that can be used for good or bad. When I do social engineering engagements, I usually do phishing emails alongside a pretext calling. So I spoof internal phone numbers, and then I call someone. I'm like, hey, yo, Justin, did you receive that email we sent out? And he'll say no while I'm on the phone with him. It's like, oh, let me resend it. The truth is I never sent it in the first place. And while I'm on the phone with him, I send the email. So there's more urgency. I'm talking to him on the phone. The email shows up in his inbox. He just wants to get me off the phone. So he just follows through with whatever the email tells him to do. Real quick self-promo. Once again, hands-on phishing, July 8th. I walk through the exact tactics and methodology on how you can do that on the red team, and also what to be aware of on the blue team. But very common thing that I do when I do social engineering pen testing, and something you need to be prepared for in your organization. Okay, let's continue our stories. A few more. How am I doing on time? We are at 7:44. Sweet. I think I'm doing well on time. Let's continue.
A Russian court sentenced 4 REvil ransomware members for trafficking stolen U.S. payment card data, but released them immediately, citing time served in pretrial detention. The case wasn't tied to REvil's major ransomware attacks, and is one of the rare instances of Russia prosecuting its own hackers, likely prompted by U.S. pressure back in 2021.
I mean, yeah, I was super surprised when Russia actually arrested these guys. I mean, look at him. He's like, come on, Vladimir. Aren't we friends, bruh? Can you just like let me come out and continue doing my hacking shenanigans? That guy's thinking the same thing. He's like, come on, Vlad. We were friends, dude. Let me come out. I promise not to attack Russia if you didn't put me in prison. This guy has his hoodie on. He's like, you're not seeing my face. You know, I'm disappointed he's wearing a gray hoodie like me. Real hackers wear black hoodies, but I don't become a real hacker until the nighttime. So during the day, I have to wear a gray hoodie. At night, I transform into a real hacker with a black hoodie. Maybe it's because it's the daytime. This hacker has his gray hoodie on. At least these guys are wearing black. It's not black hoodies, but they have black shirts on. But you have the Revel or whatever their freaking name is, but they were sentenced to 5 years in prison, but let them walk free right after the verdict, saying they'd already spent enough time behind bars while awaiting trial. They're like, thank you, Almighty Vladimir, for letting us go free. Now, if you don't know this, when it comes to Russia, generally the Russian law is, hey, if you want to target the U.S., go ahead. Like, you can do your ransomware, just don't target Russia, and we won't go after you. This was surprising because this group, as you can see, primarily targeted U.S. citizens. They thought that they were in the clear. They didn't think Russia was going to come after them. And then all of a sudden, Russia shows up. It's like, hey, guys, we have to look legit. So we have to put you in timeout. We have to make it look real. We'll say it's 5 years, but, you know, as soon as you plead guilty, we'll just let you go free. Little slap on the wrist. You can go back to doing your ransomware. Maybe if things go bad, we'll arrest you again for 5 weeks and let you go free. But the 4 men were arrested in a series of raids across Russia in early 2022, resulting in the detention of 14 suspects. And as I said before, it is uncommon for Russia to prosecute its own attackers. I could have written this article. But it followed a call between then U.S. President Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, during which Biden was like, yo, Russia, dog, can you like at least arrest some of them? And Vlad's like, I got you, bro. Bet. He arrested them and just let them go. It says, we don't know whether they pledged allegiance to the Kremlin. The legal proceedings against the alleged hackers have dragged on for 2 years. So, I mean, I guess they were stuck in this limbo for 2 years. So that's some amount of punishment, right? Of the 14, only 8 have been brought to a Moscow court to face charges of illegal financial transactions. Hearings have been postponed. Blah, 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 blah. It was really active before it shut down in 2021. It's targeted Lady Gaga, Donald Trump, as well as U.S. companies. All right, there's nothing else really interesting here. Let's jump over to our next story. Let's refresh the podcast so it jumps over to our next story.
Threat actor Trojanizes copy of SonicWall Net Extender VPN app. A threat actor distributed a Trojanized version of SonicWall's Net Extender VPN app designed to steal user credentials and VPN configuration data. The malicious installer, signed by a suspicious entity, was hosted on attacker-controlled sites to trick users searching for the legitimate app. SonicWall and Microsoft have since mitigated the threat, revoked the fake certificate, and warned users to only download software from official sources.
Yeah, like you probably shouldn't download your software from LimeWire. I'm sure all of you have had the experience as a kid, right? You're trying to download music on LimeWire and you downloaded loseyourself.exe and you definitely lost yourself once you tried to play loseyourself.exe and get pwned. This is just a little more sophisticated version of that, right? So when it comes to different binaries or Windows binaries, you can actually inject malware or shellcode into that binary. It looks legit. When somebody runs it, though, it's going to actually do the Net Extender VPN. Like, generally speaking, the VPN will work, but at the same time, the shellcode is going to be executed, and you're going to be in for a bad day. Now, just like it says here, don't download stuff if it's not the official website. That's a pretty obvious fix. You can also, if you want to be more technical, look at the hash that the company provides you with. Like, when you download files, you can get a file hash. And if anything about that file is changed, the hash of the file you downloaded will be different. And that'll be a very good indicator that, hey, maybe I shouldn't download loseyourself.exe because it's different than loseyourself.mp3. And I'm going to be in for a bad day if I download it and run it. Says the attacker modified 2 components of the NetExtender installer, anyservice.exe and netextender.exe. Any service includes a patch that bypasses its digital cert validation functionality. So that's interesting. That is what's bypasses and allows the certification to seem legit. NetExtender.exe, meanwhile, includes the code that shares configuration data with the threat actor. So I'm guessing this allows the threat actor to steal VPN information. It says it was sent to a remote server with this IP address over port 8080. Once the VPN configuration details are entered and the connect button is clicked, the malicious code performs its own validation before sending the data to the remote server. Stolen config information includes username, password, domain, and more. So pretty interesting attack vector to collect VPN information on whatever the victim organization is. And I'm guessing the VPN information was then later sold on the deep web to other threat actor groups to provide them with initial access to organizations. Oh my goodness, I don't know how to say that dude's name. He's a SonicWall VP, said, yo, no SonicWall subdomains were involved in that campaign, and that's true. It was just patching the .exe binary and allowing that to spread the malware and make it look legit. It's talking about Google Ad Services. We already talked about a little bit on how that can be poisoned and spread via SEO type poisoning, similar to like the search parameter injection that we saw earlier, but instead of a search field, they're actually advertising malicious websites with malicious forms of binaries for NetExtender. Nothing else super interesting here. Pretty common attack. So on the blue team, just be aware of, hey, don't download files from websites that aren't trustworthy. And also on the enterprise level, make sure you're hashing files and checking the hash to make sure it is the legit file and it has not been tampered with. As a red teamer or a pen tester, this is something you could keep in mind. You can even use something simple like Metasploit, or actually I think it's MSF Venom, to inject shell code into a .exe binary. There's a lot of different ways you can do that, but maybe in a red team engagement or a pen test, this would be one way to get in via phishing or payload delivery so you can gain access to the organization. So nothing super exciting about that story. We have one more. Critical Bleed 2, or Critics, Citrix Bleed 2. I really need to learn how to read is under attack. Let's continue.
Don't panic, but
I won't.
it's only a matter of time before critical Citrix Bleed 2 is under attack. Citrix has patched a critical vulnerability dubbed Citrix Bleed 2, affecting NetScaler ADC and gateway products, which could allow unauthenticated attackers to access sensitive memory data like session tokens. The flaw is similar to the original Citrix Bleed, which was heavily exploited by ransomware groups, and experts warn it's a matter of time before the new bug is also targeted. Citrix urges immediate patching and session killing commands to mitigate the threat, especially as updated CVE descriptions suggest the risk is more severe than initially disclosed.
Okay, well, we all know that the organization that has the Microsoft Exchange portals from the freaking 1600s, it doesn't matter to them. Like, they're going to be vulnerable. And here's where, like, you need to be aware of this if you're on the blue team. If you get pwned once by a public CVE because you didn't patch something, more threat actors are going to target you. When they hear that the threat actor group Flaming Donkey got into your organization by exploiting the CVE from 2014, they're going to find that information and they're going to fire off some CVEs at your public-facing applications to see if they can get access, including this new Citrix Bleed version 2. So Citrix Bleed, you probably remember this. I remember it, but it's exploited by at least 2 ransomware groups. There's a big one in Seattle, and they forked out $52.5 million as part of a class action settlement after extortionists exploited the original Citrix Bleed. I can't be any more clear. If you are not patching stuff, you are going to get pwned. If you are not patching stuff, you will deal with ransomware. If you are not patching stuff, you're going to have a bad day. I think I saw this by Barricade Cyber, but I don't have the details in front of me. Justin or Eric, you guys can drop it. But I believe they recently rolled out an open source program that helps you with keeping your junk up to date. So I might be AI hallucinating that information, but it's in the back of my mind that I saw Eric post something about that. That'd be a good way to do that. But there's a bunch of different patching solutions. When I was a senior analyst on the blue team, A big part of my job was doing patch management of firewalls and networks and our public facing web apps. And we had a patch schedule. We had to change control process. It had to be submitted, but we knew it got done every single month. And if CVEs released before then, we would do an emergency patch cycle that night to make sure things got patched. If you are not doing that, you are just asking to get pwned. It is 2025. Patch your stuff, or don't be surprised when you get exploited and you get pwned and your customers' information gets exposed. And honestly, in my opinion, if you have a CVE from like multiple years ago and that's how a threat actor gain access to your website, you don't just offer the customers, here's free identity monitoring for the next year. No, you freaking pay them. Forget paying the ransomware group. You pay all the customers that got pwned because you suck at patching your stuff. Keep your things up to date. Rant over. I think that is the end of the podcast. Let me double check.
Be sure you're registered for this week's Super Cyber Friday event, all about hacking the internal politics of cybersecurity.
Yes, that is the end. And Justin just dropped a link to the Patching Install Community Edition. So let me go ahead and just check this out. And I'll share it with you guys. Then we'll end our time. But this goes well with a lot of the stories that we had today about like you need to patch stuff. So I'll drop this in chat if you want to check it out from Barricade Cyber. But this is Patching Install Community Edition. If we scroll through, it says this is a free. All right, you have no excuses. A free open source tool designed to simplify and automate patching for Windows systems. This PowerShell-based solution ensures your systems remain secure by installing critical Windows updates, updating PowerShell modules, and upgrading applications via WinGit with scheduled reboots to minimize disruption. You have automated updates, scheduled reboots, comprehensive logging, which is nice to see if it succeeded or failed, non-interactive, so it runs silently, module cleanup, and community driven. Free for public use with full source code available. Make sure you patch your stuff. If you haven't done it before, this looks like a really cool solution to check out. You can check the logs. You have event log screenshots. Amazing. I mean, big shout out to Barricade Cyber. Big shout out to Eric and Justin, the team over there. This looks cool. I'm going to have to dig into it myself just for fun. Maybe see if I can exploit it. Maybe I'll create my malware version of it, host it on a fake website, and then you guys will go to download this, and all of a sudden, like, my face will appear on your desktop, and it will say, Hack Smarter was here. I won't actually do that, but make sure you guys check that out. Does look like an amazing tool. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for taking the time to hang out with me for another episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. Just a reminder, I am going to be here all week. So I will be back tomorrow and I'll be back on Friday. I'm also doing jaw jacking today. So if you have questions about cybersecurity, careers, pen testing, exploits, Threat Actor Academy, whatever you want to ask, you can ask those questions. Let me jump over to our jaw jacking intro, but this does conclude Simply Cyber Threat Brief. Thank you for being here. It's always an honor to hang out with you guys. I'll see you over in jaw jacking.
Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jaw Jacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some jaw jacking.
Well, welcome back. My name is Tyler again, and I am doing jaw jacking. So if you have questions about cybersecurity, pen testing, careers, rapping, boxing, MMA, Elder Scrolls, like whatever you want to ask, or if you want to ask, why am I better than Justin Gold at Counter-Strike? Like any question you have, you can ask them in chat. Just preface your question with a Q. Then I know it's a question. Mod chat will also try to see it to make sure everything is good. Let me also get out of all this other craziness I have open on my screen. I'm going to drag a restream over to my primary monitor so it's a little bit easier for me to track. Let me get chat pulled up, and we'll see if we have any questions. People saying thank you. Hey, thank you for being here. It is seriously good to hang out with all of you. It's a little bit early for me, but yeah. Can you explain Net Extender? I can explain Net Extender. So actually, let me double check to make sure I'm not making this up. I believe NetExtender is just the VPN client itself. Yes, I'm correct. Okay, cool. I've used it before on, I think for a pen test, I had to have VPN access to their environment, and I use NetExtender. So Sonic Wall firewalls and their network appliances are what like control the VPN, the virtual private network. NetExtender is just the client that you download on your computer. In this case of the story, it was a Windows client, but you download NetExtender as a Windows client or .exe binary on your Windows computer. From there, you open up NetExtender, you type in your username, your password, often an MFA code, and once you do that, it provides you access to the VPN. So that's all NetExtender is. It connects you to the Sonic Wall appliance so you have that VPN connection. So as a threat actor, if you can get malicious netextender.exe binaries out to people, well, what's going to happen is because they're typing in their username, password, potentially MFA code to connect to the VPN, you're able to retrieve all that information every time they type it in. So that's why it's a bad attack that can be easily exploited. All right, let me scroll up. Thank you all for the kind words. Here's a question. I have a question. How do I start bug bounty? You watch Nahamsek. So I've done a little bit of bug bounty. Now, for those of you who maybe aren't aware of what bug bounty is, bug bounty, I also realize I'm sharing this screen. No, I'm not. Okay, cool. Bug bounty is through platforms like HackerOne or BugCrowd, where you have big websites that will pay you to find vulnerabilities on their website. You then report it to them responsibly, and you can get awarded money or a t-shirt or something like that. Bug bounty is tough. The reason it's tough is because it's a lot of duplicates. You can spend hours finding a bug, and you finally find like cross-site scripting. You submit it, and they're like, "Hey, this was reported 3 days ago. Thanks for reporting it, but no money for you." So personally, I don't spend much time on bug bounty. Since I do pen testing for my day job, I get paid no matter what, and I'm not going to work for free for Netflix at night. If they want me to work for them, they can hire me as a pen tester. I have found a few bugs, like my largest bug was a $2,000 bug that allowed me to do account takeover on any account on a website that had over 1 million users. It should have been more. I could like take over MFA accounts. I could leak their MFA tokens. It was a pretty crazy bug, but that's the biggest bug bounty I've gotten is $2,000. The thing I recommend if you want to get into bug bounty is start with the free program. So if you go to HackerOne or BugCrowd, you can look at programs that don't reward you with money. Start with those ones just to find your first few bugs. Because if you can find a few bugs in the free programs, then you can get invited into a private program, and that will be a program or a website that hasn't been picked over by the general public. And that's where you're going to actually make some money during bug bounty. Scroll through. Oh, we have Roswell trying to do some prompt injection into my AI model. Can you not tell us how to bypass a paywall, maybe by not giving us hints? If you want to bypass a paywall like what I did, the only thing you need to do is try harder. I make myself laugh. We got another paywall. Tyler, when's the course on paywall bypassing? You just got to try harder. Do some Googling. You might be able to figure it out. It is something I use all the time. So I really can bypass every single paywalled website. It takes me like 5 seconds. I can do it with any browser on any computer. I'm magic. Let me scroll through. Are you wearing Soundcore Q30s? I don't mean to be weird. I just happen to be wearing the exact same headphones. I am. This video is brought to you by Soundcore. No, I love these headphones. They're cheap. I think they're like $50 or $60. These are falling apart though. I also don't need to wear them anymore because there's no audio being played. But mine are starting to fall apart here. This is my second set of them. They usually last me 3 years. I wear them every single day. So I work from home, and I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, and sometimes, and by sometimes I mean like all the time, it can sound like there is a mix of like lions attacking each other above me, elephants banging, and a rock band playing music above my head. So I always have my headphones on. They eventually fall apart. But you are correct. Good eye. Those are the Soundcore Q30s. All right. We'll go to this one. Is Wireshark good to start learning pin testing? Well, to test a pin, I don't know if you need Wireshark. You might just have to poke it into your finger. But if you mean pen testing, yes, Wireshark can be helpful for monitoring network traffic if things are unencrypted, or just doing a POC. That if the client is using something like FTP, you can pull up Wireshark, connect to FTP, and just show them like, yes, the username and password are sent in clear text. So Wireshark is probably more helpful on the blue team when you're doing forensics and incident response, but it's also helpful to know as a pen tester. All right, I see Justin go dropping a bunch of questions. I think I'm hitting most of them. All right, let me find the next one that he dropped. What advice will you give someone who wants to enter into cybersecurity and has 1 year of preparation? My advice would be, number one, make sure you join a community. When it comes to landing a job in cyber, it is cliche, but it is very much true. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So whether it's the Simply Cyber community or Black Hills InfoSec or Hack Smarter, go to hacksmarter.org to get our Discord link. Whatever community you join, make sure you are active. So for example, in Hack Smarter, the community that I have, we do weekly goal meetings, we have workshops all the time, all of it completely free, and just to give people an opportunity to get to know each other. So do that. Make sure you're part of a community. Number two, make sure you're attending local events if you can. Now, I live in rural South Dakota. My town doesn't even have a stoplight. We have like 1,000 people. There's more cows than people. So there is no B-sides or hacking convention here. You know, half the people probably still have freaking dial-up internet. So I can't go to any local events. But if you live near a bigger city, there's likely a B-sides or a DEF CON group. I recommend you get involved with those to build those connections, build some friendships, and get to know people. Finally, on a third one that I'd recommend is work on certs. I don't know whether you want to be blue team or red team, but look at what certs you need for whatever job you want to go for. Some certs that are always good to get is the CompTIA trifecta, the A plus, Network plus, and Security plus. Regardless of whether you're blue team or red team, HR recognizes those three certs, and they give you a solid foundation for whatever career you want to pivot into. So look at the A plus, Network plus, and Security plus. All right, let me scroll through. And Alpha Sierra said, Tyler just said, get good, scrub. Yeah, absolutely, I did. VQ Saint said, what's a good entry-level job I should target for a pen tester path? I'm in school for cyber, and I'm trying to get the Hack the Box CPTS. A good entry-level job for a pen tester path would be, honestly, help desk or SOC or pen testing. It's not unheard of to have your first job in IT be a pen testing role if you put in the work and grind. Not common, but also not unheard of. As far as a good entry level job, just take whatever job you can get in IT that will give you some experience. My first IT job was doing IT help desk level 1. I really did enjoy it. I know a lot of people hate help desk. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got hands-on with a little bit of blue team, hands-on with a lot of customer service and helping end users and understanding some of those pain points. That has directly translated to my work as a pen tester, working with clients and helping blue teams remediate issues in their environment. So help desk, I really do think is an amazing job to jump into as a good starting place. Also, if you can get a job in a SOC, that would work well. But the downside of a SOC is often their schedules suck. So you might have to do shift work. You might have to work overnights. I have a wife and 2 young kids, so I wasn't going to work in a SOC. So I did IT help desk first. From there, I became an IT support manager. From there, I pivoted into an analyst on the blue team side of things. And from there, I became a pen tester. My other piece of advice I'd say is, look, you don't owe any company loyalty. I very much hop jobs. I mean, my first job, I was in it for 5 months. Then I took a job as an IT manager because they were going to pay me more. I was there for about a year, so a little bit longer. Then I switched over to being an analyst. I was there for like 7 months, and I switched over to be a pen tester. My current job is a pen tester. I've been here almost 3 years. This is my longest job that I've had, but I'm quitting this one now to go solo on my own. So like truly, you do not owe your company loyalty. They are paying you for your job. But when you have a better opportunity, you don't have to feel bad. It's just business. Just say, hey, y'all, it was good being here for a month or 5 months or a year, but I have a better opportunity. Peace. Truly, you don't have to feel bad. This is not the early 90s. You don't have to stay at the same company for 30 years hoping you get retirement. Look at the layoffs. This as soon as the bottom line of the company, as soon as you're not making that bottom line or they have some financial cuts, they're going to cut you, not even with the freaking 2-week notice. So just very clear, you do not owe loyalty to any company. You owe loyalty to yourself and to your family. Always make whatever decision as far as jobs go that is best for you and your family. Justin Gold said, isn't the motto hack smarter, not harder? It is. But to hack smarter, sometimes you have to try harder. Just put that in your pipe and smoke it for a little bit today. Considering people that don't seem to ever patch, when you're planning your red team strategy, how do you determine if an older exploit is too old or too well protected to even bother trying? You just try it. I mean, it's always worth trying with some exceptions. If you have like a kernel exploit or something along those lines, you don't want to fire them off because there's always a good chance you might actually crash a system. But if it seems vulnerable to something, just try it and see what happens. I will say, like, most companies that don't ever patch their stuff also don't hire pen testers. So when I'm doing pen testing, companies at least have a patch management system in place, because if they're paying the money for a pen test, they have figured out how to do patches. Will you be singing karaoke at Wild West Hacking Fest? I will rap at Wild West Hacking Fest, but why would I sing karaoke? All right, karaoke is when you sing other people's songs. I make my own music. So screw doing karaoke. I will be singing Tyler Ramsby at Wild West Hacking Fest. I actually do love like freestyling and stuff. So I don't know if my friend Joe Helly, or not Joe Helly. He's the mayor. Why am I blanking on his name? The TCM director, dude, amazing guy. Is it Joe Hudson? There, I think I have his name there. If he's going to be there, hopefully we can do some rapping together. But yes, as far as conferences go, guys, I will be at DEF CON. We are hosting a Simply Cyber meetup over at DEF CON. I will also be at Wild West Hacking Fest. I will also be at Simply CyberCon. I have my tickets purchased for all 3 of those conferences. So if you're going to be at one of those, I would love to meet you. And if I have the opportunity to rap, I will. All right, let me scroll through. Thank you, Kimberly Can Fix It. Go to hacksmart.org. You can get my Discord link. Scroll through. This is, everyone says, who's Tyler, but they don't ask, how's Tyler? Computer Cyber KW asked the best question. Hey, Tyler, how are you? Fine? Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I've been like crazy busy. So I posted this on LinkedIn, but this week, guys, I'm spending every single night working on my hands-on phishing course. I have modules 1 through 7 complete. I have 2 more modules left, just modules 8 and 9. These are like, I don't know, almost 70 hands-on lessons, all with like video guides and written guides. It's an incredible amount of work to make a course, but I'm working on this literally every single night. So I do the daily cyber threat brief. I get up a little bit after 6 a.m. my time. The show starts at 7 a.m. So I get up a little bit after 6 a.m. my time to get everything ready for the show. I do the daily cyber threat brief until 8:30 my time. As soon as I'm off, now I do my job as a pen tester. I'll work until 5 o'clock as a pen tester. I get off, I hang out with my kids. They go to bed at about 8 p.m. As soon as they go to bed, I'm back on my computer, usually until midnight or 1 a.m. working on my course. This week, I had to cut it down to about 11 p.m. because if I stay up till 1 a.m. and then try to wake up for the daily cyber threat brief, I'll be dead. But I'm doing fine. I'm just tired. I'm looking forward to my course being done so I can like chill a little more. What is Tyler? When is Tyler? Why is Tyler? Exactly. Thoughts on LinkedIn Learning? I need to look into Power BI. I don't use LinkedIn Learning, so I don't have any thoughts on it. I'm sure it's great. I saw Hack the Box recently partner with them. I just have never really used LinkedIn Learning, so I don't have any thoughts on it. All right, I'm scrolling through. So just because he already asked a nice question, he says, I feel lost. It's normal. Always sometimes I see. Part of learning is feeling lost, if that's what you mean. I mean, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you're drowning in information. You just take it one day at a time, one step out of a time. Your goal is not to become 100% better today. Your goal is to become 0.5% or 1% better today than you were yesterday, not only in your career, but in your emotional health, your mental health, your family health. Focus on 1% better each day. Learn 1% something new. Whoops, wrong thing. Is GRC a good career path? I thought about going into it, but some people say there's nothing exciting in that career field. I mean, yeah, it's a good career path. We're on Simply Cyber. If I say anything else, I'll get canceled by Jerry himself. But no, GRC really is a good career path. It can pay really well. You generally don't have to do like on-call stuff because you're not doing incident response. And you don't have to be highly technical, but it is useful, right? You're coming up with policies or auditing policies, making sure things are done well. So if you enjoy that kind of work and you don't want to be forced to like always be hands on keyboard, popping shells and stuff like that, GRC is definitely an incredible path, an incredible career for cyber. What are some of the best platforms you would recommend for hands-on resource for blue teaming? I would recommend try Hack Me and Hack the Box. I know there's other platforms. I just haven't used them. Try Hack Me has some incredible learning paths on Blue Team and like security engineer and SOC stuff. They have their SOC simulator and their SOC certification. Hack the Box has amazing resources as well. So in Hack the Box Academy, you have the CDSA. I don't remember what it stands for, Cyber Defense Security Analyst or something crazy like that. But the CDSA path over in Hack the Box Academy is top tier, really well done. And if you have a .edu email, you can get access for only $8 a month to that full learning path. Additionally, in Hack the Box, they have Sherlocks. Sherlocks are like mini incident response things where you download all the files after a very realistic incident and you have to investigate those files, and your flags are finding indicators of compromise. So I've done a few Sherlocks on my YouTube channel. That's what I'd recommend. So Sank Logic is beta testing my fishing course right now. He said it's amazing, bro. So don't take it from me. My fishing course is amazing. It comes out July 8th. If you enroll in the first 4 weeks, you have a potential to win an OSAP voucher. Anytime I have an opportunity for self-promotion, I'm going to take it. Thank you, Sync Logic. Dang, how do you get your kid down so early during the summer? Even 8:30 is a struggle for us, so it's been later lately. Oh man, I'm getting tired. Just having a schedule and sticking to it. I mean, I'm not the best parent for parenting advice, but during the school year, my kids go to bed at like 7 or 7:30, and then during the summer they go to bed at 8. They're just used to it. My son wakes up uber early. Like my son wakes up at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock every morning. But now that he's 5 and he's old enough, like he'll wake up and he'll just play in his room till everybody else wakes up. Sometimes he's loud, but most of the time he just plays quietly and nice in his room. So my kids wake up probably earlier than the average kid, but they also go to bed earlier. But when they wake up, they usually behave relatively well and just play on their own and let me sleep. John V said, how important is your spiritual health to you? I mean, I've talked about this on my other channel. I don't want to preach at you guys here on Simply Cyber, but yeah, faith is a huge component of my life. And by huge, I mean it is the most important part of my life. So I'm a follower of Jesus. My faith, my commitment to following Jesus is by far more important than my career, even more important than my family. Like that's the one thing I value above everything else. So to answer your question, as far as how important it is, it's not only important, it is like everything. That is by far the most important part of my life. I already answered your question, computer cyber KW. So I'm not going to go back to that. So Christopher's going to use my course to see if he can catch more bass. It'll help you. Absolutely. You'll learn how to really catch those bass. Recommendation on a book about quantum computing? No, because that's like would make my brain blow up. I don't know much about quantum computing. And by saying I don't know much, I know like nothing. I understand the concept, but just hacking training, John Hammond's platform, they have a course on quantum computing and some upskill challenges. So if you check out Just Hacking Training, I believe they either release it now or they're planning on releasing it, an entire course on quantum computing. So check out their course. They're smarter than me when it comes to that. You went from a pastor to a pen tester. Was the transition difficult? Sort of, yes and no. But yeah, you're correct. So for those of you who don't know my journey, I spent 10 years in pastoral ministry. So I have a associate's degree in business, a bachelor's in cyber, a master's of divinity, which means I spent 3 years in the academic level studying theology and Greek and Hebrew and philosophy and history and all that fun stuff. I was actually working, I was 1 year into a doctorate when I decided to change gears during the COVID-19 pandemic. The transition was definitely difficult as far as like breaking in. So, to give you guys kind of a snapshot of my life in those days, one, I was burnt out just dealing with COVID-19. I'm not going to assume anyone like goes to church, and if you don't, that's fine. Like, once again, I don't want to preach at you or tell you what you have to believe. But in the church world, just like many other worlds, COVID-19 was incredibly divisive. And I live in rural South Dakota, which is about as hardcore, don't tread on me country as you can get. And when COVID-19 happened, we canceled services. We went outside like for a few months. Then I live in South Dakota, so it gets really freaking cold, so you can't stay outside. So we eventually moved services indoors, and I just asked people to wear a mask. And people lost their minds. Like, it was insane how mad people got because I asked them to put a piece of freaking cloth on their face. And it was at that point that I was like, all right, I'm done with you people. I was emotionally just like a wreck, exhausted, angry. I went through therapy and just decided I'm done. I'm done being a pastor. It was my dream. Like, I didn't think I would ever do anything else. But that's when I realized I'm changing gear because this is not good for me, not good for my family, not good for the church that I was leading. But I still continued to lead for a year. So literally, guys, I kid you not, for an entire year, I was a senior pastor, lead pastor, only paid staff member of a small church, so full-time work. I then was going to WGU full-time to get my degree. I knocked out my bachelor's degree in 7 months because I grinded it out. In the first month, I landed my first IT job full-time on site in a city 30 minutes from me doing IT support. So there was a full year where I was working 2 full-time jobs and going to school in order to get my degree and make a better life for myself and for my family. So when people tell me like I had someone say, so one of my courses is $34.99 to learn AWS pen testing. The person was like, I'm a broke college student, I can't afford it. And I wanted to say, figure it out. Like literally, I don't care if you're a broke college student. If I can work 2 full-time jobs and go to school while being the sole income provider for my wife and 2 young kids, I don't want to hear you tell me that you're a broke college student. Don't have a freaking victim mentality and figure it out. All right. So that part was really difficult. Once I got my degree and started to transition into pen testing, being a pastor is sort of a superpower. For 10 years, I spoke in front of people every single week. So my public speaking skills, I think, are above average. Also, that helps me with social engineering. I'm relatively good at speaking to people one-on-one, at building trust and building rapport, and I can use that when I do social engineering engagements. Of course, I don't want to use it for malicious reasons, and I'm not even lying in the conversation. It's just me being personable, asking people how things are going, and just building that trust with them during a social engineering engagement. So being a pastor has super powered my career because it helped me have way above average communication skills, both in public speaking in person, but also just live streaming. I did a lot of video stuff when I was a pastor as well, a lot of live streaming stuff. I even started a podcast for my community. So all of those skills that I had back then, I transitioned to cyber and YouTube and things like leading the daily cyber threat brief. I know there was a long answer to what seemed to be a simple question, but this is the best question. What do you think about John Jones' retirement? Is he ducking Aspinall or does he have nothing else to prove? He is ducking him. My understanding is he was like, yo, UFC, I'm not fighting unless you pay me this sum of money. And the UFC was like, all right, bet. Here's the sum of money. And then John Jones was like, nah, I'm going to retire and I'm going to commit more crimes in the process. I've never liked John Jones. He's an incredible fighter. From what I can see, a garbage human being. Daniel Cormier is much better. How do you manage your busy schedule? I don't know, dude. Gal, people. How do you guys manage your schedules? I'm still trying to figure it out. I live by my calendar, so I try to make sure anything that I have scheduled gets put on my calendar so I don't forget it. I take a lot of caffeine, which isn't healthy. And there's also seasons of just like rush. Like right now, I'm working way too much. I should not be working this much, but it's short term for like a couple of weeks as I finish out this course. But I kid you not, right now I'm working probably 14 to 16 hours on average every single day for the past 2 weeks now as I get everything ready for this course and then doing this. So I really don't have a good answer. I manage it now, but it's quickly becoming unmanageable. You have to learn to say no to more things than you say yes to and live by your schedule. That would be my recommendation. TLDR, is WGU worth it? So WGU, guys, is Western Governors University. They have a unique approach to education that's competency-based education instead of going through courses. What I mean by that is like you pass your security course by getting the Security Plus. It is definitely worth it. Now, some people will say you don't need degrees to be in cyber, which is technically true, but having a degree does open up more doors for you and get past the HR filter. So I love WGU. Not only did I get my degree, I got a whole bunch of certs in the process, and I was able to accelerate the process. So it is very much worth it. Honestly, just for the degree and the certs that you get out of it. What are some good books that you've read lately? Any good recommendations? You guys keep asking me this question when I don't have my Kindle Scribe down here. I'm reading a few books on business. One is about like 24 days to a side hustle or something. You'd have to Google it. Another one is about, I think it's the challenge customer or the challenge deal about doing sales is another book I've been reading. I'm reading a few theology books, one by N.T. Wright on Paul, which very nerdy. It's a massive book. None of you are probably interested in it, but I've been reading through that book. I like to read the Wheels of Time series, so that's one I'm always reading. If you Google Wheels of Time, you can find them. But if you're a fan of like Lord of the Rings plus Elder Scrolls plus Harry Potter, you would like the Wheels of Time's books. So those are some of the books I'm reading right now. South Dakota, like New Zealand and Australia, I have no idea. South Dakota, at least my part of South Dakota, there's not much to do and the weather sucks. In the summer, it's extremely hot and humid and you feel like you're going to have a heat stroke. In the winter, you walk outside and your face freezes from negative 20 degrees plus wind. There's a reason it's cheap to live in South Dakota. All right. Hey, thank you, Kimberly Can Fix It. You can check out my video I made from Pastor to Pen Tester. I even forgot I made a video about that. I've made over 600 videos now, guys. So if you want to learn careers and pen testing and blue team, make sure you check out my YouTube channel. It is in the lower thirds right now, youtube.com/@Tyler Ramsby. Lots of good questions. It's almost 8:30. And so we are going to call it a day. I'm scrolling through. Is it important to learn quantum computing? I don't think so because I don't know it. I think I've done fine without it. Marcus Kyler, who I know has a demon, said N.T. Wright is that dude. Exactly. Marcus Kyler knows what I'm talking about. N.T. Wright is legit. Amazing, amazing theologian, author. Really cool guy. What's this? Good morning. I have a question and no need to answer if this is not the place for it. Well, I'm going to answer it. I recently got my Sec Plus cert and I'm a veteran and currently intelligence analyst. I'm having difficulty landing my first IT career, cybersecurity analyst, Is there a second part to the message? Oh, it's just not showing up here. Let me read it over here. and hard landing the interview. My only IT experience I have is an Army career, self-taught A plus, Network plus. What can I do to improve my chances or resume? Networking, networking, networking. Not just like, connecting cords to each other and computer networking, but I mean people networking. I'm not a veteran. So thank you for your service here in the United States. But I know as a veteran, there's often programs that help you with some of that placement. I'm sure you've already explored those. But outside of that, make sure you're networking. I know Heath Adams had a group. I think he still has it with veterans and helping them break into cyber or as part of it. I don't remember all the details there. But additionally, attend local B-sides, attend local events. It's not what you know, it's who you know for landing that job. All right, guys. I see a few more questions, but I do actually need to dive into my real job as a pen tester because it's 8:30 and that's or 8:30 my time and that's when I start. So, here's the thing though, if you have a question that I did not answer, guess what? Oh, VetSec, thank you. That's what it's called, Wire Dog. If you have a question that I did not answer, I will be back. Now, tomorrow though, I'm not doing jaw jacking. Tomorrow, jaw jacking will be done by the CEO and founder of Barricade Cyber, the one and only Eric Taylor. But on Friday, I will be back, I think, for some panel Q&A and jaw jacking stuff. To be honest, I don't know how all of that works. I'm pretty sure all the panel people just join from Mod Chat and we all hang out and answer questions here in Restream. But I will be back on Friday to do Q&A. But I will be here tomorrow. So I have tomorrow morning, I'll be doing the daily cyber threat brief again. And Friday morning, I'll be doing the daily cyber threat brief again. So thank you so much for all of you taking the time to hang out with me. If you don't sub to me on YouTube, make sure you do. But thank you for being here. I also think each day the streams get a little less buggy. The first day I had some issues. Second day went pretty well. Third day, I think today went really well. So by Friday, it's just going to be picture perfect. No bugs, no issues at all. I'm speaking it into existence. But thank you all for joining. I will see you tomorrow morning for another episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief.